Moving on to our next song here. Orange County Death March.
Yeah. I think when I heard the song, I quite like the song, but also like the artwork as well. So, all the old historic sort of Victorian boxing artwork and all that kind of thing is quite appealing. And the title of the band, Orange County Death March, is quite unusual. But so basically, I was thinking, there must be. Well, I wasn't sure where they'd be from, but they're Los Angeles, California. Born out of isolation and hardship, proving that you can dance the pain away. And the song itself says, in an obvious way, we've all been played. At a pivotal time, our covers have all been blown to the enemy. This song was written quite a few years ago, but one could imagine it being written today. For those hungry for a protest song that doesn't beat them over the head, this is the one. So I think, for those who like some thoughtful lyrics, I think they'll quite enjoy this one.
Okay. Well, without further ado, Orange County Death March with Covers.
I'm happy to say that even my worst defense is tighter than everyone else's best on a perfect day. Sometimes living a lie is easier than the truth. All of the concrete proof is set against you in an obvious way. We have all been played at a pivotal time. Our covers have all been blown for the enemy. No one's leaving the room. They're reading each other's eyes, hoping that no one's wise to their next move. Sometimes the paranoid are actually being watched. I don't care what they want. You better run, boy. Run in an obvious way. We have all been played at a pivotal time. Our covers have all been blown for the enemy. Imagine the room where all of their eyes are locked. All that they've got is knowing their beliefs are true. Some might say there isn't a telltale heart, only a standing start. In an obvious way.
Mr. Davis, take it away for us, sir.
Yeah, it's an interesting track. Yeah, definitely where it's got the sort of beats coming in. There's definitely the march element to the piece, definitely. I thought maybe a little bit early on, maybe the vocals were drowning out maybe the instrumentation a little bit in the background. I thought maybe the vocal was a tiny bit too strong for me. But yeah, it certainly got that march element. It's quite a dark piece. It sort of seems quite a dark mood to it. But yeah, there's some interesting aspects to it. I noticed there was a little bit of acoustic guitar. I could pick up little bits of it, but I couldn't pick it up very often. And there was a bit of sort of like whether it's a bit of keyboard or sustained chords here and there, but I couldn't hear them very well. I thought maybe the vocal was a little bit too strong, and maybe there could have been like a sort of middle eight or something in the middle just to sort of break things up a wee bit. I thought maybe it was a bit samey, but that's just an opinion. But certainly it's a good song. I just thought it could have been done with a bit of a change in the middle, maybe a key change or like a middle eight. But also thought the vocal was maybe a little bit overpowering at times. I don't know whether it was deliberate because it's a march. It's sort of quite a dark mood. Maybe that was intentional to have the vocal be very prominent. Maybe that's the case. I thought personally it was maybe a little bit too prominent. But yes, certainly still a good song and a very good effort.
All right. Monsieur Fandango.
Oui. Okay, so I really like the intro, and I think, yes, the vocals are prominent on this one, and I agree in that respect. Yes, not the word isn't overpowering, but I think it's a deliberate move. I'm guessing because then the focus is on the person, the individual, the singer. So because it then goes with this, well, that my argument would be, yeah, that was why I would put it in a prominent place, is because, I take it that the cover being blown is us putting all our stuff on. Well, my take on it is that it's all about social media. Yeah, we've got all our information out there. Everything's going cashless, and they can track our movements, and our cover's been blown to the enemy. So basically, you put all your views out there, and everybody knows what you think, what you had for breakfast, and all sorts of things. So it's yes, as a comment on, I guess, it would have applied still 10 years ago or whenever they wrote it, but it's certainly applicable now more than ever. It's certainly got a sound of I couldn't quite place it as sort of Hosier, maybe Zach Brown band mainly. Maybe Bear's Den, sort of Agape sort of sound, something like that. But it's nice sound, it's sort of slightly folky sort of sound. I like the rhythms, the marching rhythms and things, the stop-start of the song. I think Rich is right. It could probably develop a bit more. But that said, it was just a sort of, again, one of those productions that sort of samey, but maybe it had to be handled in a certain way and couldn't become too big and overblown and then ebb away or anything like that. But it just had to be dealt with a certain way. I think on my comments I'd put on Slaps was that there's an analog lead synth in the break, so that was as close as to middle eight as I think it got really there, but it had a bit of distortion on it, which was a nice little touch. But yeah, I think it's quite a subtle production. What have I written here? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I've said already. So, but I think, the background ambience. I like all the sort of synthesizer sounds and things and eerie sounds. It was a dark song, and all those sort of sounds in the background and in the intro, just subtly in the background going through it. And when it went quiet, there's just that eerie sort of long note. So, yeah, I think that's quite a good song actually. I like that one, and it's. Whether it's radio friendly enough, I don't know, but I know there's a lot of people follow that kind of sort of slightly folky music, so it's definitely got an audience potential.
Modern folk, sure, yeah. It's kind of hard for me to pinpoint where I am with this song, honestly, tell you the truth, because it kind of like has kind of like a Red Hot Chili Peppers feel to it, but not not like 100%, right? So it wouldn't be like really Red Hot Chili Peppers. I wouldn't even say it's like really Radiohead, because Radiohead tends to have a little bit of the darker stance to their music, as opposed to where the radio Red Hot Chili Peppers would be a little bit more lively and upbeat. So this song would kind of fall like somewhere like in the middle there. And I can't really think of of a band that it would remind me of like 100%. Um it is lyrically a prominent song to, today's climate, maybe as let's just the political climate, today, as opposed to 10 years ago or however long ago, could be possibly the same here. um One thing that was bothering me throughout the whole song, so something that Rich may have picked up on there through the computer speakers without having headphones on, is that the guitar was panned all the way to the left. So you get this heavy guitar sound in the left ear, with kind of like the vocals, like kind of like being like encompassing through both, kind of like the middle of the brain, right? And and that kind of like threw me off a little bit. I didn't like just constantly hearing the strumming of the guitar here on the left side. It did kind of bother me. Like, I understand that if you have a little bit of a pan, but you leave a little bit over here, but it almost sounded like 100% pan
Right.
on the left, as opposed to, like, let's say an 80/20, right? Because that would kind of like encapsulate the vocals. So
Was that the acoustic or electric guitar?
the
I
acoustic,
thought it was acoustic.
So
Yeah.
normally you'd try and put two acoustics. Well, even if they're doing something slightly different, it's nice to have that balance of two acoustics. I used to sort of put an acoustic guitar in, but I then sort of started doing two on either side. So you've got that balance then, and there's always a bit of dynamic going on, but you're getting that general sound always from both sides then, even if they're doing something slightly different. So I
Yeah.
think that's worth doing, as well as panning them to the far sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do a little bit of a tutorial, just like, not like at this very second, but I could put one together probably in about 10 or 15, minutes, showing the importance of like having, like, let's say, 100% balanced track of an acoustic take, and then having an acoustic take that you do over the 100% balance, but then you kind of just clip the slices away, and you balance that out to, like, let's say, an 80% over onto the left versus the right, and the melody flows so richly at that point, because you do have 50/50, 100, right? So you do have
Mhm.
a 50/50 balance, and then you have that 80/20 balance, where you can still hear over here, as opposed to it being like all over here, which can in turn make your vocals sound like they're overtaking, or at this point, in the case of this song, where they're underwhelming, because you have this kind of going on, and this portion is kind of like annoying you to no end, really. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because all I'm hearing here is the strumming of that acoustic guitar. That's it. Acoustic guitar with metal strings on it as well. Because maybe if it was an acoustic guitar with vinyl strings with 100% pan, and just kind of like the volume kind of like tuned down a little bit more,
Mm.
then maybe it could have like sounded a little bit better. But now we're talking about an acoustic guitar with metal strings on it that's 100% pan, with, like, let's say, about 85-90% volume. Now we're talking about something that's really, really, really just catching right over here. You know what I mean? So that
Mm.
would be the negative critique to it, is there's a lot going on with that guitar, and it's just one element, as all of us know. It only takes one element for either a song to be a hit or a miss completely. And in this case, I will say that this is a bit of a miss just because of the fact of that guitar, because it does take away from the rest of what's going on with the song. Because if you listen to the song a few times, I'm sure you're going to hear, 5-10 different elements that you may have missed with just that guitar taking over that kind of like that left side of your equilibrium right there.
So you think one on either side, just a sort of nice balance, but dropped in the mix a little bit more, slightly less prominent.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you just took that one, dropped it down, like let's say 10% in volume, and then moved it over to 60-40 split, then that would just do wonders. That just changing this one thing in this track, honestly. And once again, if you guys want to stick around, I'll pull up GarageBand after we're done with the show, and I'll even include it into the show as a kind of like a tips and tricks kind of thing to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'll pull up just a random loop, and we can all listen to it together. So but that would be my major critique from a production standpoint. Otherwise, lyrics are good, very relatable, and I do think that it's a very radio worthy and very radio friendly song. But that portion of it is going to take any A&R rep or any scout, and that is going to throw it off completely if you're looking for a music deal. Just saying. I've been there, done that.
Ooh.
Both of you are just shaking your head like you don't believe me. That's not fine.
Nice. It's good to get the advice. It's always useful. I'm learning all the time as well. It's always nice to hear all these little tips and things.
Yeah.
Again,
and reasons not to do things as well as reasons to do things a certain way.
Again, I'm not being negative. All I'm saying is what I would do in my track, because that seriously, I may as well have been listening to the song like this.
Right.
You get what I mean? Like I have the left cup off. I have the right cup off. I have the left one on, and this is the one that I may have as well have been listening to, because this is where the prominent guitar was. Because if I had it like this, I wouldn't even hear the guitar that was in here, because it was panned all the way over there. That's all that I'm saying. Not trying to be negative. Not trying to be very judgy or anything like that. I'm just saying, from a production standpoint, that's what I think needs to be done. Totally.
The Simon Cowell of the underground sound.
Oh my god! I was feeling it coming. Moving on. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll take the Simon Cowell of the underground sound. Simon Cowell's very famous, for crying out loud.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Brett Sears here, though.